Hey guys, we're back, and today we're going to talk about the number one thing I think that people asked when we walk into their backyard. The very first thing.
Pool
And
shapes.
that's exactly right, Rip. It's like we practice this. Um, so, anyway, okay, what's your take?
So a lot of times people will be asking us when we come out there as designers, should they go with freeform curves or do they want, the old rectangle or more modern
A
style
combination.
or a combination? And that comes up quite a lot. Curious what your thoughts are.
Um, Me personally, I'm kind of on the fence nowadays. Seems like I used to go mentally with more on my pool, more of the freeform lagoon, the boaters, waterfalls, grotto, and I don't know. The last couple of years, I'm kind of even on the fence. But really, what it comes down to, every backyard is different, every house is different, everybody's style is different, and there's really no right and wrong. One doesn't cost any more than the other. The price is linear foot, square foot of the pool. That's how, a straight line pool is not any more expensive than a curved pool.
That's generally true.
So I think it just kind of depends on, I have a lot of people that that'll show me 4 or 5 pictures and say they'll all be like straight line pools, and they'll ask me, so what do you think? Which way should we go? And I'm like, okay, you just showed me every picture you showed me had straight lines. I would go with a straight line because that's what they gravitated to. So
So ultimately, it's their vision of what they're looking to do, but I do think the style of the house, the architecture of the house, um, does play a big role into that. If you have a modern house, you're probably going to have a modern poolscape. If you have an older traditional house, kind of could go either way then, because you could do a transitional where we kind of blend the two together. Boy, I tell you what, having a pool that has both straight lines and curves in it, I've seen some really pretty ones doing that. So I think more than anything, it's kind of the vision there, being mindful of what the architecture is and what the style of their house and what their garden is going to be.
yeah, yeah, I'm with you on that. It's just really, sometimes when people has a slope in their backyard and they have a small backyard and you have to dig into that slope, depending on how the slope is, it might be more reasonable to go with a curve in the lay of the land on that point. I think it's pretty more wide open if people's got a big backyard and kind of do anything they want to do. And I think if you have a good designer, and hopefully it's us, but if they're a good designer, they're going to kind of point you in the direction that you need to go on the style and where to put the pool at and the location and how to lay it out in the backyard.
I've
But
seen some projects where there would be a easement, which is a setback off of the side or rear property line for various reasons, but that it's almost an invisible line. You don't see that as any you don't see that as the property line, and so you'll sometimes take your pool or your patio or your retaining walls right up to that edge, and a lot of times it's just, well, it's always a straight line. So a lot of times that will kind of, okay, this is the max we can do.
I,
However,
I just ran into somebody a
yeah,
few weeks ago, drew them up a plan. They had an easement going right through their backyard. They also had a sewer pipe. They had a sewer pipe easement and an undisturbed buffer. So, and it went straight in their backyard. And it wasn't a small yard. I mean, it was only maybe 35 feet of all the room they had. So to maximize their pool, we put a straight line pool in, not a rectangle. We did a lot of cool features, a lot of cool stuff. And unless there are people out there that just love the 4 line pools, just the rectangle, traditional, and that's great. Those can turn out great. But if you're not, or if you wanted an automatic cover, you pretty much have to have a rectangle pool. But if but if you want to do like a tanning shelf or some cool features on your pool, have a little bump out for your tanning shelf, because that tanning shelf, it's going to take up room in that pool. So if you have a 36-foot pool, all of a sudden, you might could only have a 28-foot pool if you start pushing the tanning shelf into it. So have a little cutout for it. Or maybe a bench outside the pool. Make it a little bit unusual, make it unique, make yours different than everybody else's. And so, that's the key. And one of the other segments, I would definitely wanted to get into elevations and different locations of the pool, but I think that's kind of
Well, I
another
want to talk about a little
conversation.
bit about, okay, so you had a project recently. There was an easement there. You pushed the pool. Your pool followed the line of that easement. And I had one recently too where they wanted a free form. So what we did is we pushed the pool all the way to that edge, but we did it free form. And then in that little pocket there, we actually that's a lower fire pit. So the pool's up out of the ground a little bit. That becomes a little fire pit. So we still maximize going all the way to that line, but instead of being a straight line, we actually have two parts of the pool hitting it, and then our fire pit.
Well, that's kind of what a little bit something different we did. We went right up to the sewer line easement, but then the undisturbed buffer was about 15 feet further back. So what we made, and then it sloped up. So what we did was we built a raised wall on the pool and actually had the back of the pool elevated up 18 inches. We didn't have to, but it's always nice to be able to, instead of just having, even if you have a flat backyard, put in some different elevations, do some different other stuff to it to add into it. You want your pool to be unique. And like if you go on to our website or look at some videos on our YouTube, we have a lot of pools on there that's in flat yards, and it doesn't need one wall on it. But if you look at the shapes of them, that we put those in there. It may cost you a little bit more money, but again, it's going to make it unique. And it doesn't really matter about your shape. It's really what you do on the outside. Because we do a lot of renovations where basically we tear out the whole backyard except for the shell. And I've seen some pretty ugly shapes of pools, but by the time we got finished, you didn't really even notice what shape it is because everything beyond the pool looks so good. Raise some walls, lower some walls, nice patio, added a kitchen, added a fire
spa.
pit. Yeah, add things onto it. So don't get so focused on the shape of the pool. Get more focused on the things around the pool. Whether it's the shotcrete, gunite, vinyl, fiberglass, it doesn't really matter what the pool's made of. Agreed?
How it's made doesn't make any difference. I think just to recap a little bit is style of the house is going to influence. It doesn't have to be the end all be all. Whatever you're dreaming, make sure you have a good designer so that they can make your vision fit that property. And then maximize your features. Let your backyard be feature driven is kind of what you said there at the end.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, like us, subscribe to us, and comment. Make some comments, ask some questions. If you guys got any other questions, just put them below and we can answer those for you. And we'll see you next time.